Will the quality of education be bad? Will minorities be hurt? These are the two questions that we want to answer in this debate. The two clash points are, is the quality of education will be good and will minorities go off? And I'm going to start with the first clash point, which is the quality of education. What we heard from Team Proposition, that they told us that for-profit universities will only care for their shareholders and that they will only give subpar education and you will leave these students with subpar debt and you will never even give them a job. And what they told us is that they will build more colleges to improve education, and they even told us that you can't benefit from these degrees because they are useless. What we told you here on the opposition is that the incentive is profit, and you want to improve this profit by bringing in more students, where they told you that if you want to get more profit, you want to provide better services. If you provide better services, that means better education. So where they told you that the quality of education in these universities is actually good, because once your reputation is under scrutiny, this is when you get attacked and you want to make sure that you want to improve the education for these students. So you need to make sure that the quality will be good. And then also on the question of debt, we already told you that traditional universities also leave people in debt. And they never answered this. We already told you that, would you ban traditional universities as well? They never even answered that question. They just want to ban for-profit universities because they leave people in debt. We see that this question isn't answered on this side of the house. And then we also told you that the quality of education doesn't matter for profit universities because of allocation of funds, because traditional universities even misuse funds. We already told you about the examples of Ohio State and Washington University having the best jacuzzis in the West Coast. We already told you that it's justified for for-profit universities to actually benefit from such funds by profiting, because they don't want to actually spend it on other things. We see that it's justified for them to actually get this funds. And moving on to the second clash point, which is how minorities will be affected. So Team Proposition told us that minorities will only begin exploitive ads, and they will only think of the glossy ads thinking, if you want to succeed in life, you better come to our universities. They also told us that they prey on these poor people because they are desperate and irrational, and then they just end up in debt. What we told you here on Team Opposition, that's not the case, because people think long and hard about debt. We think that people will think, this is a big choice in my life, so I better think long and hard and do my homework and think about this university. If this university is bad and will scam me, I will see that because the people will actually see these reviews that will say, this university scams these people. We see that exists in our modern world, and this is how minorities are protected in our world. And we think that this is a meaningful choice for the minorities if they want to improve their lives. We already told you that these people have bad grades and can't afford their CVs because their society probably has a bad society with crime and drugs. We think that if you actually ban for-profit universities, traditional universities won't even accept them in the first place. So basically what they're doing on this side of the house is that they're systematically hurting the poor and never letting them improve their lives. We see that for-profit universities actually provide them with useful and meaningful skills in order to create this employability. We think that the debt that they take is actually the reason why the debt they take will actually improve their lives in the long run, because they get these skills from these universities, and that they cater to these poor using e-learning and distance learning. Instead of actually banning this sector and just reaping its benefits and giving it to community colleges, we already see that these universities actually already cater to the people. We already told you that 70% of the graduates in one university actually come from low-income Latinos. We already tell you that these universities are actually benefiting these people. So if you're already benefiting these people, why do you want to ban them? You want to ban them because a couple of them are actually doing a horrible job? No, actually remove these people and actually improve the ones that are benefiting. Rather than taking this Terminator approach and actually harming minorities, we want to actually improve the lives of minorities here on this side of the house. This is why you should actually be proud to oppose.
The reply speaker from opposition spent 4 minutes 20 seconds.
After the reply speech for the opposition. Now to conclude the case for the proposition and the debate as a whole, I call upon Mr. Soravis Dipitapong.
this debate boils down to two main questions the way I see, right? First question, are there any exclusive benefits coming from for-profits, right? Let's look at this. They accuse us of ignoring the minorities, right? But in return, we already told you the alternatives that will solve all the issues that they came up with, right? We're saying that firstly, public education sectors were meant to cater to everyone. I've said it in my speech. I told you that they're going to take in anyone that they can, but they're not going to let everyone pass their courses, right? That means that they have a standard in terms of their education. They let everyone in, but they don't let everyone go on, right? Now, furthermore, right, we're saying that there's a lot of minorities in public colleges already, right? There's just not enough spaces currently for everyone. That's why they go to for-profits. We told you this constantly, right? Furthermore, community colleges have a niche course as well. We're saying that there's cosmetology, there's psychology in these courses. When my second speaker told you, when we ban these for-profits, right, what happens is there's a hole in the market, right? What happens is community colleges fill these holes anyways because it's the state's obligation to provide whatever the people is asking for. If a lot of people are asking for psychology, then the state needs to open a psychology course, right? This is things that the state has already fixed, and it's part of their obligation. Furthermore, right, we're also saying that we also deal with the accessibility, right? We have online courses that are expanding. We're using money that was initially used for paying off the debt that students had to come and expand on these universities, build more courses for the minorities to take up, right? All these are not exclusive benefits as side opposition wants you to believe, right? It's also existing on our side. The difference here is the quality of education, right? We told you, the for-profits needs to make money, right? It's in the name itself. They want profit. What does this mean, right? Even if the traditional colleges make a jacuzzi, that jacuzzi is for the students. It's not the money kept to the state themselves, right? Because we're not allowing money to flow to Donald Trump. We're using the money to reinvest back into the colleges. This is the difference between for-profit and a traditional college. I've stated that in my speech as well. Now, furthermore, right, we also told you that for-profit universities have an incentive they told you that they have an incentive to attract students, right? So therefore they want to maintain policy. But we're telling you it's not true, right? Because they know that the poor don't have a choice anyways because there's no space elsewhere. But they go to their university to make profit and exploit these poor people, exploit the minority that they're trying to protect to begin with, right? Under their side, they fail to even solve their own problem, so therefore we think that they're not able to protect the minority, which they claim is the exclusive benefits of their side as well. Now, moving on to my second question, which side better alleviates the debt, right? We told you that debt is a huge issue inside for-profit universities. We understand that some debt may exist inside traditional or community colleges as well, but the difference is the size of the debt, right? The difference of impact in terms of the debt. If you have a debt, you can get a debt in traditional college, but we told you it's about the reasonable amount of time that you can pay it back in, right? So that you can live a meaningful and good life later on, because you don't have to be burdened by the debt anymore. At the age of 40, you want to already be having a family, moving on in life, but all these are reasons. The debt is the reasons why you can't move on, because your financial freedom is limited due to the debt, due to the fact that your saving is being taken out due to debt repayment, right? Furthermore, we also solve this issue on the long-term side, right? We're saying that we use money initially used to pay the debt to improve the colleges and expand the courses, right? Now, what does this mean? It means that more people go to community colleges. It means that less debt is obtained in the end of the day for these people, and therefore, you're less likely to have to go on and live on a debt, like paying debts every day or every month and all these things. Because now they can spend money on getting a car, getting a family, all these different things. And therefore, this debt issue is something that we also take in this debate. Therefore, we're proud to propose.
Ladies and gentlemen.